Welcome to Tales of Africa from Leoma's Books. Today's story is about getting water. This was the street where we lived in Juba. There was a mixture of houses, but most of them were mud houses with grass roofs. We also walked up and down those streets very often whenever we wanted to go over to the SIL Center. The compounds often looked very much like this. You'll notice the mud house with the grass roof and a door, people sitting on mats in the shade outside, or maybe they would have a little shelter, as you see over on the far right, or maybe it's your left. And we felt perfectly safe that if there was ever an incident where we were walking and needed to find refuge, we could easily go to one of these compounds and would be welcomed and looked after. Well, this was my home in Juba for about a year. I'm standing at the door of the screened in porch, and immediately to my right, as you go in the house, is the main sitting room. Now, our house was plumbed for water, which was supposed to come from the city, but rarely did. So we had to find alternatives to having water, and it was quite an issue in those days. This was the set of compounds behind our house. So this was taken from my back window. And so there were usually several houses in one compound with a fence around it. And you'll notice in the foreground there's some, looks like water or mud or something. Well, I'll show you in a minute where that came from. We had the fortune to have a metal roof with gutters. And when it rained, we could fill up a rain barrel very quickly. In fact, with two of us dipping buckets of water out every few seconds and rushing inside to fill up the drums that were in the house, the one outside would frequently overflow anyway. So often we got our water in this way. At other times, our coworkers would come and put water up in a tank that was helpfully placed in our compound. So we got 3 drums of water a week. So we had to use it carefully. Since our neighbors didn't have metal roof and no gutters, they benefited from ours. And so the back brought quite a bit of water and waterlogged the ground. And so they dug this hole, and the groundwater would fill up the hole, and then children would come and collect the water and take that home. So when the water was quite full, or when the hole was quite full of water, the older children would come and they could quickly fill up a big jerry can and carry it home, or a bucket. And then as this dry season came on and there was less water in the hole, they would scrape the water out. So in my afternoon rest, I could often hear scrape, 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 as they were getting the water out of the hole. And they would send younger and younger children to do that task until they would send 4-year-olds with just a little tiny jerry can like this, that they would eventually fill up and put on their heads and carry home. So the next time you wonder where your water came from, be glad it's not out of a hole. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and follow, subscribe, and look for free stuff on leomasbooks.com. Thanks.